Call this meeting to order. Mary, read the roll.
Rumbaugh.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Garcia.
Here, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all those who are joining us by social media and those who are present. Go on to item number C. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Commissioner Brombaugh. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Howard. Any questions, concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Ferris.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Rumbaugh.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Thank you. Move on to item number 2, public comment. Has anybody signed in there? Okay. Move on to item number 3, consent agenda. Item A, June 7, 21 commission meeting minutes. Item B, June 14, 21 special commission meeting minutes. Item C, appropriation ordinances 2021-12, 2021-12A, and 2021-P12. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Howard. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Ferris. Questions? Concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Thompson.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Ferris.
Yes.
Rumbaugh.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Move on to item 4, ordinances and resolutions. Item A, ordinance 1741. Sharice?
Yes, I'd be happy to cover this. Apparently at the last meeting or a previous meeting, you asked to extend the requirements or the allowance to have fireworks. And I believe Jake has drafted that ordinance to your request. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I think they're pretty self-explanatory. All right, so we've had an opportunity, because you said the commission visited about it at the last meeting. So I will entertain a motion to accept item A, ordinance 1741.
So moved.
Ferris?
Second.
Ferris. Okay. Any questions or concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Rumbaugh.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Item 5, formal action. Item A, authorization to apply for Dane G. Hansen Grant and provide matching funds at the Renner Field Road Improvement. Sharice?
I think I'm gonna turn that over to
Andrew?
I've got John with the airport board here with me. Rennerfield Road has been talked about for quite some time, not only because of drainage issues we see around the hangars and with the road. But also you'll see, I think you guys got the partial application. It doesn't print out the prettiest when we get that out, so. But a FOD, foreign object debris issue, whenever vehicles are driving back and forth onto the apron, back onto the Millings Road, they're tracking that rock, which could be a potential safety hazard or issue. In discussions with the airport board, FAA and KDOT don't really consider this area a high priority for funding. And so with retaining some of the money from the runway project, it was discussed, hey, can we use some of these funds then to offset like a Dane Hansen grant? And so that's what you have in front of you, and I believe you've got a location map that shows you in red what all we would be doing, and then also an opinion of probable costs for that. In discussions the airport board had in their meeting on the 11th, they talked about proposing a 20% match on this. So I believe that total is,
Just over
85,000.
85,000.
just over
Yeah.
85,000 and requesting 340,000 from Dane Hansen. So, we've still got a little bit of extra information to put in the application, before we send it in, but yeah, that's what I believe, myself and John with the airport board's here to, ask for his authorization to go ahead and apply for this funding and extend those dollars in that fund. So,
Well, my
if
feeling is-
awarded, sorry about
My feeling is anything that we can do out there to enhance productivity, it's dollars well spent, so, and it's needed. And of course, we got some additional projects going on that you'll probably be alluding to a little bit later in the meeting too, so.
Yep.
But, so yeah, I don't know what the commission thinks, but I am sure in favor of, moving forward with this.
That's been a need for a long time. The potholes and everything else that have been out there that you zigzag around, so I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, I think it seems to be a good use of funds that we didn't have to use, that we were expected to use on the other two runway projects. So, yeah, I think it's good.
I think there's a larger fund amount there, but we don't want to hinder future projects also, as those come along here in the next couple of years too.
Yeah.
So for match dollars, we put that.
It's a valuable asset, and we need to keep building on it.
Okay, I think everybody's in consensus over that. I will entertain a motion to accept item A, the authorization to apply for the Dane Hansen grant program.
I'll move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Thompson,
I'll second.
have a second by Commissioner Howard. Questions, concerns, Mary, we will.
Brumbaugh,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Ferris.
Yes.
Oh, Garcia.
Whoa.
He's sitting here telling me,
All right.
Garcia.
We're all
Sorry.
looking at each other.
Sorry, John.
All right, yes. That's right. All right, so we move on to item B, KDOT Aviation Grant Agreement Phase 2. Sharice?
again.
Maybe Mary can help me out with this a little bit. This is just the formal agreement for phase 2. I don't think anything was formally signed or approved for receiving the funding for phase 2 of the Taxiway B project. I believe in that agreement, the state is offering 90% up to $342,000, and then the city share for construction is about $38,000. So, which would be 10% of that total project. The design's already been taken care of because when we did the phase 1 project, we included the phase 2 design help us out on the funding side if we needed help, just saying it's design ready. So,
Any questions for Andrew? So the total estimated cost would be about over 425,000, is that what?
380, wasn't it?
380, just like right at 380.
380, and I think the total with,
341 for KDOT and 37.9 for Siri.
Okay.
in between the two phases, I think we're upwards of 700,000 for that total project with 90% from the state.
All right. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Somebody had a question? I will entertain a motion to accept item B, KDOT Aviation Grant Agreement Phase 2 to Taxiway B.
I'll make a motion, we accept that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Ferris. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Thompson. Questions? Mary Ruth Rose.
Howard,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumbaugh,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Just a quick update, if I can. Phase 1 is almost complete. They're about ready to start wide cutting and sealing and then backfilling along the edges. And hopefully we can get this thing flipped around, coordinated with everybody out at the airport so we're not causing too much of an inconvenience. It's always an inconvenience, but try to lessen it as much as we can, so.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay. Move on to item C. Tower Point lease, Sharice?
That one I'll do.
Yeah.
The Tower Point lease, I've read through City Manager Lanning's information that he had left, visited with Jake, city attorney, and it looks like a pretty good agreement to us. And the dollars, $50,000 up front, if Verizon doesn't turn their first right of refusal, or first right of refusal letter back to us. And there's a clause in the agreement that if they don't put anything on there, that's your only risk, is that they don't put anything on there. And in 5 years, if they don't put anything, if it's, they call it stale or something like that for 5 years, then you can terminate the contract. So, Jake, did you have anything additional that you would want to add to that?
Yep, that's pretty much where it is. I think that we understand, right now you've got Verizon, telecommunications on there. PowerPoint, they get the lease, there's an easement, they can add other telecommunication companies onto there. And 50% of the revenue for those rents is what the city would get. Same thing currently right now, I think the rent is $500 a month for $500 a month for Verizon, so even if they renegotiate a new lease with Verizon, or they have to upgrade, I don't, technical terms, I don't know. We would get 50% of whatever is above that $500 from Verizon, simply because Verizon's on there now, doesn't mean that we would never get anything from Verizon, no matter what the price was. So, same idea.
And so how do we find out when new tenants are added? I mean, how do we patrol that?
They have an
Yeah,
obligation to take, that's part of our, the whole, we call it the easement agreement, that's the agreement between us and PowerPoint. They are obligated through that agreement to provide us notice of who's on and what rate it is.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the Tower Point lease contract.
I'll move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Brombaugh. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ferris. Any questions, concerns? Mary Ruth Rose.
Thompson,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Brumbaugh,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Move on to item number 6, discussion items. Item A, city manager recruitment. Sharice?
Yeah, we have some options with filling the city manager position. You can use a consultant. There's multiple out there that do that type of service for you. You can use the League of Municipalities, which I think you've had experience with both of those services in the past, the leagues, and then I think you used a consultant the time before that. Or we can do it in-house. We just went through this in Dodge when we replaced me. So I've got all the information that we can utilize to do it in-house. Crystal and Mary are excellent. So I don't see any reason why, unless it's just a preference that you have, to utilize a consultant. I think we're gonna reach the same people. We'll use the League of Municipalities, their website. That's a fee, fairly small. And we'll get it in the Kansas Government Journal, which we missed the deadline by. The day I got here was the deadline. But we'll get it into the next month. And then we can I'll make some calls to WSU and KU, to the public administration programs, and say, do you have any graduates or alumni that you know are in search of jobs? And those are a lot of times your good resources. The KCM, we'll contact them and get the word out through them. It's, again, a small fee, and I think they're working together. When I was president of KCM, I think we made an agreement with the league to work together on those ads. So it shouldn't be too expensive. And then we have the whole testing process, the interview process, and everything can all be done in-house. So I just need some direction from you guys. If you're comfortable with letting us go that direction, we'll get that started and probably out the door by the end of the week.
What's the commission think?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're confident that we can take care of it in-house without adding too much extra, workload on what everybody already has, and it can be done thoroughly and well, I have no issue with doing it in-house, so.
Good.
I agree.
I'm for in-house.
Okay.
I am too, just a couple of questions. So when you went through it in Dodge City, so what was the time element from the time that you precipitated the hiring and actually got somebody?
Oh, it wasn't very long, probably 3 months, but we had a candidate that we were pretty confident was the strong choice, that it was gonna be a difficult, task for anybody else to beat them. They were from Dodge, had been outside and come back. And so that made it a lot simpler. But we still had some good candidates. One of the tricks that I found that expedited, and this is back when I did HR, was you put the applications will begin being reviewed immediately. So if you have somebody that looks like oh wow, we didn't realize they might apply, they're really good, we think we can keep them here for a while, let's get started on the process. And then you can go ahead and you can go through the interview process, you can go through the testing process, and you can get all of those steps done. And then if you're going, I'm not sure yet, I need somebody to compare to, okay? Then we'll let that candidate know we're going to be a little bit, and we're going to bring a couple other candidates, so just be patient with us, if you will. And it tends to expedite it. You may say, nope, that's the one. And you didn't have to sit out there and wait for months for things to close and, for you to begin your review process. You can start it as soon as you start receiving them. And that also encourages people to get them in quicker. I'm the best procrastinator. So you give me 90 days, I'll take 89. So that helps, and a lot of city managers are that way. So it helps to just expedite the process.
Good. Good. Yeah, I'm okay with it. So I think just general consensus, you move ahead, kind of give us a format, where you're at, kind of maybe just a small synopsis of where you're at on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Yeah, and we will actually, I'll work with Mary and with Crystal. We put together a whole flyer about the community, and you guys can easily replicate that, and that's really attractive to applicants because it gives a little bit of information about the schools, it gives a little bit of information about, this community's background, where you're at financially, and projects that are upcoming that really kind of spurs their interest. So we'll get that put together. That'll probably take a little bit of time, but we can get that started. The application or the advertisement started without that, but we'll send that out to all of you so you can see that too.
Good.
Okay?
Any other questions? Push through. Okay, we move on to item B, building official. Sheree?
Yeah, that one kind of caught me a little bit by surprise on that first day I got here. That you're actually not going to have a building official effective August 1. So from July 1, the merger will take place, and then the fire chief was granted 30 additional days. So theoretically, August 1. What options we have there are slim. You have a really, really good individual that looks like they're coming through with the code enforcement, but they just have literally been there a few weeks. So they're hesitant to say they would be interested in jumping in right now. I've checked into a few different consultant firms. Distance is going to be an issue for you. Plan review, it may work. Because so much of that can be done online. But when it comes to physical inspections, your contractors aren't going to say, well, I'll wait a week. You know, they want their inspections, they're going to call it 8 o'clock and they want it by 10. So that limits our possibilities. I would like to visit with Colby to see if there's any interest or ability of them doing a contract with us to provide the physical inspections. There's a couple other options that we can look through, but I wanted to give you the heads up. That's going to be something we're going to have to probably move through pretty rapidly. And if I believe Colby would be the fastest, but I also know there's politics when you bring in another city that's sometimes seen as competition to do the inspections at your community, that sometimes that can be challenging. But right now it may be your best and it may be your only solution. I haven't had a chance to call Tyson over at Colby yet, but I will start that if you guys are comfortable. I just wanted to see how you felt about it first.
Reggie, what do you think?
I mean, we're just talking temporary until we can get a more
Yeah,
permanent fill, you know, but I
the
mean,
best solution, ultimately, in my opinion, would be if your code enforcement person is really grabbing hold of things and they can learn the building inspection side, then you have a code enforcement building official, and then you hire a clerical support. That would be the most cost-effective way to do it. You're not going to know that right away.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably 3 to 6 months. I'm hoping 3, and for sure you would know by 6 months. So it could be a little while. I don't want to lead you to believe it's going to be a month and a half, 2 months.
Any thoughts, JD?
No, not really.
Reggie?
You know, my only thought in that, I would like somebody that is either willing to get licensed to be the inspector or is already licensed. I don't want somebody that's not licensed anymore being building inspector, because these days it can come back to bite us really hard.
Very definitely.
That person needs to be licensed.
And certifications, there's a lot of programs out there now that you do, especially after COVID, you do it right at your desk to get your certifications. And so you just got to have somebody that has that interest and that aptitude.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you.
Here?
Good code. They can make a city or break it, but we need a good one.
So let me ask a question with Brian having profound experience like he does in that capacity. You think he'll just be too busy to spot checks, which is exactly what Colby is going to do, to if we could have a conversation, I don't even know whether he would even be interested, at all. But if he, at one time, I think he might have thought that he might just for, few months. But, I don't know, that without having a conversation with him, whether, we would be better served by, keeping somebody local, in the community. Have you talked to him at all?
Yes.
Yeah, and what,
He was the one that said 30 days.
just 30 days, just all he could do?
Now, I can go back and grovel a bit. Not great at it, but I do pretty good. And see if we can get any movement from that direction. I'm not sure we'll get as much as we need.
Yeah.
I guess hindsight's a little frustrating because hindsight's a little frustrating because we sat on it with missing documents for a year and then it gets done and now we're without a spot to fill when all of a sudden the merger happened and now we're
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the commission, to me, I think, we'd be better served by visiting, with him for, taxpayers' purposes. But, and, even if he gives you 60 days, you might be able to, advertise for a position, you never know, who might say, hey, I'm qualified, I want to move to smaller city or whatever,
I guess my only thought is I guess I didn't realize it was gonna go down like that where we'd be out without anybody for a time period. I thought we'd be probably covered until we were, but
I hear your point, and that's, a discussion that you could have, I think, that you can kind of explore the waters with him, because, you're right about that, that was supposed to be covered even after the merger took place. But, you can have a conversation with him and, report to the commission through virtues of, we don't have to wait till the next meeting, but through virtue of email and, let us know, what the situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can get that a little more firmed up with him.
What's St. Francis do?
Jake, was there any clarity on that happening like this with the way the contract was?
Well, no, you understand, we're just doing that for fire.
Right.
Fire services, so it really wasn't the discussion necessarily on what to do with the code enforcement, let alone building inspection, stuff like that. You gotta understand, this wasn't necessarily part of the deal, but instead it was based on the individual. So it was
Right.
the same, merger or not, Brian or whoever we have in that position, they can give 2 weeks notice no matter what.
Uh-huh.
So this kind of brings up a good point here that in a function like that, for building inspection, it probably is a good idea for us at this point to start looking at, okay, yeah, perfect situation, you have an individual hired full-time to do that. But in the event that you don't have somebody in that chair, in that spot, you do, whether it's a contractor Colby, whether there's a consulting firm, something that can fill that hole for that time period, which is very saying. That's kind of, I didn't think about that, so if you're listening to this, but basically, just because you have somebody hired full-time,
We need a backup. I mean, we've been up.
especially if you have one person, so bring it up, Tom, your code enforcement guy right now, he's doing an outstanding job. Honestly, he went from baseline 0, so now he's doing an awesome job. Great, if he would like to go forward, maybe later on, to get certified and do all that stuff, to do your building inspections, but again, put all your eggs in that one basket, he could resign or something happens to him, or whatever, and now you're back here again. So I think we probably should explore, obviously you want to advertise to get individuals, but we should explore a fail safe in the event that we don't have something to do, no matter what the situation is, so that we can keep building and keep getting stuff going. We got lots of banner going on, we got hotel going on, we got all this stuff that aren't just something that are on.
No.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, absolutely, that's why, we're telling Sharice, explore that, and if, he's not interested, then we have to go to plan, B.
Well, and we want to have Tom have the opportunity to say, if you can give me 90 days, I can make a decision after that. And if we know 90 days, then at least it's something. You're not waiting a whole year with the contractor. So I'll try to nail down some of that information for you guys for the next meeting and maybe even send it out to you before, so,
Okay.
with a recommendation. Okay?
All right, thank you. Move on to item 7, reports A, interim city manager, Sharice.
Yeah, again, I'd just like to reiterate that you guys really have a very good staff. And also that you have an impressive community. So keep doing what you're doing. So just, I commend you for that. But I also wanted to remind you that you have on June 26th, Shindig at the Smoky. And I've always kind of asked my commission who all plans to attend, because you have, granted, it's not a public meeting, but what we always did was said that there was going to be a quorum of commissioners present at this event, but no city business would take place. So that people weren't concerned, we say, hey, we already posted it. And I just always kind of like to be aware of when we have those situations. So is everybody planning to attend?
Yeah, I'm planning on being there.
May or may not.
Yeah. And we always said, okay, then you are a yes,
Right.
because if you may.
Right.
So,
I'll be out of town.
okay.
I may or may not.
Yeah.
So there's 3.
Yeah, no, I'll be out of town.
Okay. So I'll visit with Mary to see how we want to go forward with that. And that is all I have.
Move on to city commissioners report. We'll start over here with Gary.
Yeah, things are looking good around town. It sure is noisy up in my neighborhood. I see they got started on 2nd Street today,
Yeah,
so it's looking pretty. And those guys on that rest home, they go work 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. They quit when it gets hot.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
JJ,
I really don't have anything.
Aaron.
Nothing for me.
I'm good, thank you.
Under Mayor's report, the only thing I'd like to remind the commission of the Sherman County Community Foundation meeting tomorrow at 5:30 at the Elks. I don't know how many, let's see, the last meeting we were all there, 5. It was kind of-
I'm not gonna make this.
Okay, but I just kind of, wanted to bring that to their attention, and appreciate the bullet point that you sent the commissioners on your activity. That was, impressive, and I think the commissioners enjoy, receiving that, up to speed, what's going on, and so thank you, for that.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, I don't have any other things to discuss, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion by Brombaugh, second by Ferris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.